Hello. Welcome everybody to another painting stream. Man, I wonder how many I've done at this point since I've started. I'm just glad it's still going. Going to continue today on this painting here. Pretty happy to where I got the foreground. I'm going to hop up here today and color up some of these buildings and stuff, and I gotta do a little more cloud work, and yeah, getting close. I gotta push this over. There we go. Okay. Just getting my brushes going here. Probably gonna need that one. Let's see. Actually got a bunch of new brushes recently. So many brushes. Let's see. I think I'm gonna use this one. Perfect. And I'll get a smaller one too. Just roll with that one. The number 4. I have my coffee here on my palette. I'm gonna move that in a second. I'm not painting with coffee. I still have some paint to mix. So I think I've permanently switched to just mixing with my knife for the most part, unless it's like a really small amount of paint. I found this new technique with it recently, and it's this one particularly. I've tried mixing with all 3 of these. This one works really well. Honestly, they all mix paint really well, and they all kind of have a different technique to how you keep like lifting it off the palette and mixing it down. But this one ended up being my favorite. Who knows, maybe it is the actual one you're supposed to mix with, and I just like discovered that on my own. Perfect way to start a Saturday. A little coffee and art by the pool. Nice, looking so good. Thank you. That sounds relaxing. I figured it was a perfect way to start my Saturday too. I honestly just can't draw and paint enough these days. I've been non-stop. It's fun though. I'm glad to be on a little art swing. Okay, so I'm just gonna put all the colors down. Because I really haven't decided like what color I want these buildings to be, so I'm just gonna improvise here. And it's gonna be subtle. They gotta be grayed out careful with here. Can you guys hear me okay? I've officially gone through a whole tube of gray. I used almost 3 whole tubes of, or almost 4 whole tubes of paint on this one painting. I didn't expect to use that much paint. Oh, just fell right in the magenta. I wonder though if that's because I've been wasting a lot of paint just by, hey, what's going on? I just wonder if I've been wasting a lot of paint. Because I have woken up in the morning to put my yellow down. Did I use the rest of the yellow? I used the rest of the yellow last time. What do you know? Brand new yellow. Put that there. What was I saying though? I've been waking up in the morning and noticing that there's some big old globs of paint I didn't use in my palette, so I gotta get better about that, but I'm sure that happens inevitably. Like, you can't use every single drop of paint. Your sketches have been fun to see. I love the perspective in all of them. Thank you. I've been having a lot of fun with them. I've been experimenting with this new pen and ink medium I really enjoy, and it's just as satisfying as I hoped. I recently got this new fountain pen, and you can refill it with any color ink you want, and it's just, like, if you're a pen enthusiast like me, it is seriously, like, it is just the best pen in the world. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to use another pen. Like, for everything. It's, like, the most satisfying pen to write with. But ink works very similarly to watercolor, which makes it awesome. So like watercolor goes really good with the ink and everything, and I want to marriage all that together. But it's basically another part to my portable drawing set. So I'm gonna start by just trying to get a sort of purpley grayed out color, sky pink color for this road here. So I'm just gonna take like half of this magenta. I'll bring it over here. I'll nab a little bit of blue, not a lot, to show you how much is on the knife, like that. And I'm gonna grab that much white, and my guess is it's still gonna come out a little too saturated. And I just swirl around here, swipe down, push it off the knife, and I just keep doing that. That's like my mix technique I figured out, and it works really well. And it saves the most paint that I've seen from the other ways. So that's the hue I want. But what I'm gonna do is grab a chunk of this gray and mute it out. Getting closer. I don't want it to be too pink, because it's gonna be like a cloud highlight at that point. So I'm gonna do a little test, a little color test. Just to see here. a bit too pink. So I'm gonna add more white. See where that takes me. I find that white takes the color out of things faster than black for some reason. I think it's because maybe white actually doesn't have any color in it, maybe? Because black is actually made of the colors, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's all three. Or it's a ratio of all three of those colors. I want to go ahead and take a really, probably a bigger amount of gray that I took the first time and mix that in here. And getting there. Wipe off the knife. I'm gonna do another color test. Tad bright. This has become one of my favorites of your paintings. The colors in it are gorgeous. Thank you so much. This has honestly been such a fun painting. I've been having such a blast with this one. So the problem now is the pink's too bright, so I'm going to take a little bit of this black here and toss it in. Now what this black is going to do is it's actually going to make it it's going to make it more purple. And I discovered this on accident. Yeah, last time I painted. And it was really just because I wasn't thinking. Because there's blue and black. So that blue and black is mixing with the pink and making it more purple. So that's why I was desaturating it with white, because you're adding color when you use black. See if that's the right color. Once I find the right color, then things start rolling, because then I can make a couple variants of it. Alright, I like that color. I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna start the time lapse here. I can't forget to do that. Let's highlight up here first. Oh, too much water on my brush. Now, I don't want to get too crazy with the detail here. I gotta keep the detail on the down low. But I'm gonna bring more in than over here on this faraway castle city thing. And maybe someday I'll be more confident in my color choices, but for now I still like to work in micro adjustments of shade, like as close as possible, so that it's I find it comes out like I make less mistakes that way. It's just a little bit brighter. Exactly what I want. What I can do is I can add a little bit of white. And I'm really just inventing here. I'm going to take a little bit more white and make another version over here. It's just like literally the slightest bit brighter, not much. I know the palette camera is small on yours and what you guys are seeing, but if you look closely, it is a brighter purple. But I'm going to continue with this purple. It's almost like it's the same color. Let me see what this one looks like. I got so close to the original shade, it's like so slight. So I'll dry out my brush, blend this a little more. It can be like a round structure. Oh, sorry. I forgot to turn that piano song off loop, my bad. There you go. I did it for the intro screen. Alright, so we're all trading between these colors here. I'm just gonna add little like structures line things. Here, you know what? Let me try something new. Here. Try something that's never been attempted before. See if I can get a close-up going for you. It's not the cleanest way to zoom in, but now you can see what I'm doing a little better. It's gonna be a little more blurry, but that's what you're seeing anyway. So, right on the bend, I'm trying to make the brush stroke thicker so it looks like more of a road. Little details. I can work with this here. I think maybe I can adjust the camera a little bit here. It's like grainy no matter what. Oh well. I mean, I'm really zoomed in. Someday I will have a 4K webcam and zooms in like this will look amazing. Yes, zooms in. Say that 10 times fast. Hey, Doreen. What's up? Thank you. How you doing today? Enjoying this fine Saturday. I have shaky coffee hands right now, for sure. It's very hard to say. Be careful not to go over the arches there. Okay. Haven't visited live in a while. I work during the week and it's difficult to watch late at night during the week. Yeah, I remember when that changed for you. When you got that new job. I haven't seen you since. You're a true OG stream fan though, I gotta say. One of the earliest. You know, I changed my mind. I'm gonna connect this here. I think the little arches are my favorite detail of the whole island. Awesome. I'll think about putting more little... I thought about I definitely know what I want to do is I want to have this kind of have these like leaves that are like blowing into the wind, like off into the distance, like a little spiral, you know. Or actually, it would be towards, because of the way his cape is blowing, but you can't. Oh, I forgot I was zoomed in as I was explaining that. It's alright, we'll stay zoomed in because I'm still working on this road. I'll show you later. This painting looks like something out of Skyrim. Heck yeah. Big compliment. It's like my favorite world. One of my favorite universes is Elder Scrolls for sure. If not like the favorite. If I had to pick one. So I'm gonna slightly change the perspective on this road bottom. It's a little bit closer. A curve here. Something like that. Nothing like that nice brand new sharp brush. Just moving you over on Zoom. I feel like a small flat brush draws a better line than a round brush sometimes. Depending on the situation, of course. So, just literally like a hair brighter. than the last purple I used. And I'm going to take some, I'm going to brighten it up even more in a minute here, once I get this on. I feel like like making these little railing things. Kind of being random with it. Killing me joking about all your work. I can't finish him fast enough. I also haven't painted anything since I started working. Perhaps this live will inspire me. I hope it does. That's why I always say grab your art supplies and come hang out. Grab them right now. There's never a better time to paint. Or do art, I should say. It's not just painting. Okay. So I made all these little like rooftops here. definition, you know? Including these rocks. And I guess for these rocks, I'm kind of just making these big chunky brush strokes and not touching them, which creates these little like negative space black lines in the middle, which outlines them. And at the same time, appears as if there's cracks in them and stuff and whatever. I don't know what this is. I'll let that be a mystery. Could be a shrine of some sort. We're gonna be all Skyrim about it. Okay. So, gonna get my mixing knife. I'm gonna steal about half of this light purple. I'm gonna mix a bunch of blue into it and make a new color. I'm gonna take some black. Mix that black in. Grab a little bit of magenta. Bring it back towards purple a little bit more. Some more black. Some more magenta. Touch more blue. It's too much magenta. I'm gonna grab, okay, I'm gonna mix that a little better actually. I'm gonna grab a bit of white and mix half. See what I made. Okay. It's honestly not as blue as I wanted it. I'm gonna use the brush. Meet these two in the middle here. Add a bit of blue. Something like that. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, so too saturated. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna reset it by mixing all the purple I just made back into itself, and I'm gonna grab half of this gray. Still had too much chroma. And a little bit of black, grab half. A little bit of white. Went too dark. Okay, I'm gonna roll with that and see if I found it. I'm telling your sister how great this is turning out, and she's been trying not to look because she wants to be surprised. She definitely has more willpower than I do. Yeah, like a really long time ago, I sent her a picture of like where I was, and she was like, "All right, I don't want any more pictures for a while." All right. Still want to add more blue to this, so I'm gonna take like half of this over here and just make a bluish gray. See what this looks like. I like it. Screw it. Dark enough. It's a bit too dark. Honestly, just experimenting with color variants right now. I'm adding some cool blues where I think it's shaded out kind of. See if I can get a little line right there without messing up. Okay. Bring you back to the road here. I'm feathering the edge of this shadow I'm putting in here. to zoom it back out here for you. Mixed medium art, thank you. Appreciate you. Welcome to the stream, man. Trying to find this certain color right now. I forget what I did. It's been a while. That'll do. Make that edge solid there. So yeah, that is something I have to bring out actually. These here. Darcy, thanks for the like. Appreciate you. I guess I'll use that as a highlight color. See where it goes. I think I just went too slight. Yeah, I like that a little bit more. Oops. Now the road's popping, huh? Add a little black to that. Yeah. He was going into a little tunnel. Do a little experiment. Let's try that again without waterfalls on my brush. Hey, Sophia, you looked. I thought you were gonna stay strong until it was done. How's it going? I'm getting there. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Thank you for sharing, Sophia. Oh, it's so hard to draw straight paint lines when you're drinking coffee. There we go, I'll take it. Excuse me. Zach Phillips with the 310 stars, dude. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. I just ran out of yellow paint, so that'll be going to a brand new tube of yellow paint. No problem, brother. Keep up the good work. Yes, I sell all of them. Also, you can go on planetjokum.com and you can see all the paintings that are available. They're also all available in prints as well, and you can get it printed on canvas or on paper. You can get it in a frame, get it out of a frame. But yeah, go check it out, planetjokum.com. You can see the website right there, or right below my webcam box here. Visit that. This one is already sold. But I'll be starting another one up pretty much immediately. Yes, prints will be available for this one. I haven't done the photography yet and uploaded it yet, but they'll be available. Yep. I just ordered 3 giant prints. I ordered one of my volcano, the coral caves, and the space one with the guy that crashed on the comet with a spaceship. I'm gonna be selling those. I printed them on giant canvases, like a big 24 by 40. I'm gonna be selling those at my next art show. Hey, what's going on, June? Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you here. So I'm just adding the shadow colors right now, basically. Just giving this a little more pop here. Our really good friends just bought a house and I need a housewarming gift, so I'll wait till this is done, then check them all out again on your site. Cool. Thanks, Stephanie. It's crazy how much art you've gotten from me. I hope there's something that they like. I don't mean to get my head in the way sometimes. It's always a challenge working around this camera. She's a total fan of the paintings I have, so I know they'll love it. Awesome. Man, I never could have imagined having my paintings hanging on so many walls out in the world. It's cool. I can't thank you enough for spreading the word and stuff. And just supporting me in general. It's gone so far. Even just to have like the photograph of like the first print you got. And to know how good it comes out. Just everything. It's helped in such tremendous ways. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you here. I'm kind of transparently putting this like dark blue and just to get the shadows making sense here. Just needed more variety of color in these. Yeah. They're pretty close to done. Then I'll be moving back to the foreground, finish that up. I gotta make more of this color. Huh. Got pretty close. See what that looks like. What? Sophia with 100 stars. Mom with 500 stars. Oh my god. Thank you so much. Wow. So many stars. Thank you so much, guys. This is beyond beautiful. Thank you. Sophia said she wanted it dramatic. She wanted a dramatic landscape. Another 500 stars? Sophia, you don't have to give me stars. You've given me enough lifetime supply of stars. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's close enough for me. Hopefully I can finish this blue before it dries now. show that edge there. Another 1,000 stars? You guys are crazy. Oh my god, what's that now? Thank you so much. Jeez. Here we go again. You guys just like watching me get flustered, don't you? 1,000 stars, 1,500 to you guys. Thank you so much. Wow. Ridiculous. Here's my chat going here. There it is. This is the last of them. Painting is way too crazy to not send more. No, you sent me enough rent, Mom. Another 500? Get out of here. 599? Oh my god. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much. Yes, you guys are awesome. All of you. Thank you for sharing, Stephanie. Appreciate you so much. Man. You guys are so kind. Crazy. 1,000 stars. 20,000 stars. Ridiculous. Alright. As part of the 430. What's that now? You said you've like paid my internet for the month. Jesus. Thank you so much. Paid my streaming bill. Now I can keep streaming. Kept alive by you guys. Crazy. So many freaking stars. You guys help a crap load. Really does actually help me get more art supplies. Like all those stars go right towards the art supplies. Because they are expensive. Which results in more paintings, which results in more fun and more live streams, and yay. Paint isn't cheap. You got that right, especially very good paint. The good stuff ain't cheap. And at first, when I first started painting, I got the cheap stuff, and I couldn't tell the difference at first until I got the expensive stuff, and I slowly realized that, you know, it was, hey, Sophia, jeez, another 500? Oh, man, thank you so much. Y'all are crazy. Oh, man, thank you so much. Well, I bought every single tube of paint back. You guys replenished all the paint I used to use it for painting this painting. So there you go. Literally, like officially just paid for the supplies for this painting, so thank you so much. Wow. But anyway, what I was saying, when I had the opportunity to finally use the good paint, it was like night and day. With like, I mean, you know, let me take a step back. It probably wasn't night and day to me at first, because I think the more you paint, the more you tune into the subtleties of the colors. And it just has, first of all, the more expensive paint has a glossier sheen, and then it just, the colors are more vibrant, I found. So. And this blue's given the islands the dimension that I was looking for. Might even have to make more of the blue. It's all about the pigment. Yeah, exactly. And how much pigment they put in, and blah blah blah. It's all sorts of things. I gotta make more of this blue color again, or purple, whatever you call it. Got a little bit of this. Toss that in there. A little bit of red. A little bit of white. A little bit of black. See where that brings us. Choose blue. Add white. A little more blue maybe. A little more white. Got too bright. Toss black back in there. Add water. I'm working transparently here. Add more blue, a little more magenta maybe. I feel like it's somewhere around there. I don't know. I feel like that's not. Nope, it's more. I don't know, is it? Let me see. Let me see how close that color is. Not dark enough, maybe. It's like too blue. It needs a hint of magenta. The color maybe. Yeah, it's close enough. It's close enough. If I work transparently, I think it'll be good. Same for watercolors. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I just spent a whole shitload of money on watercolors a couple months ago. I got the good stuff. I went with the Winsor and Newton. And I've done several paintings at this point, and I really like it. It's fun. I'm still learning to work with it, but yeah, it's cool stuff. So what are you doing with the floating islands? Right now, I'm giving them their like ambient light shadow color. But they're pretty much almost done. I'm keeping them overall mysterious, in the sense of like what they are and why. But yeah, just adding the cool colors. So basically, I have the atmospheric color and the warm sun color hitting it. I do have to come in with a little bit of sun color and on the edge here and redo that. I didn't finish that. I skipped to the foreground because I wanted to make sure my saturation was good in comparison. Because it's easy to have too similar of saturation, and then all of a sudden these floating islands just get way too close. But yeah. Windsor and Newton are great, yeah. Yep. There was another one I was looking at, like David's or Daniel's, or there's like some sort of guy's name like that. But it was like too hard to get. I couldn't like it wasn't like stocked near me as much. Windsor and Newton seems to be the more consistent one around here. I'm actually I love your little guy. It's not completely without him. Yeah, he really adds the scale, doesn't he? Like that one little piece of the puzzle just really blows it up. Yeah, I really like when a painting makes me think about it, like where it is, why, and like I'm honestly doing that to myself with this. I'm kind of refraining from giving it a story so that like as I paint it, it's like actually mysterious to me too. Like I'm allowing it to kind of I'm allowing that to be like the vibe in which I'm painting it from. So I think that's why I picked like just as the sun is rising, so that like it's kind of a little bit darker and you can't see as much of the details of the buildings. Oh, it's been fun. This has been a very inventive painting. It's been very improvised. I did do a digital sketch concept beforehand, but this ended up having a lot more in it that wasn't in the original sketch. But the original sketch was basically for composition layout. Keep that up. So I didn't lay it out poorly on the canvas, but yeah. The sky color is amazing. Thank you so much. I had lots of fun with these clouds. They came out really this like bronzy gold color, rusty, almost like rusty colors. And I think that was the result of using magenta instead of straight red. That's what's been really fun about this painting, is locking in 3 hues with it. I haven't used any other hues besides magenta, ultramarine blue, and yellow hands, that's called, which is much brighter than medium yellow. It's like they would consider it like a light yellow. And I can show you the difference. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but if you look here, the smaller one is the lighter yellow, and this is called medium yellow. You can see this yellow is it's just more lemony. It's like more white in it, a little more green. They probably put a tinge of green in it. But yeah, I mean, you can still make this yellow from this yellow, but I just like how these two colors mix, this magenta and this bright yellow. It makes a nice orange. It especially makes a great lava color, like if you're doing magma like on a volcano. Because I learned that lava isn't really like, it's not really a straightforward color. It's not like orange and yellow. It's like these weird magentas and dark like brick colors and stuff. It's not straightforward. I remember like the first time I went to paint lava, I dove right into it, and it ended up being much more like it wasn't like, I ended up like painting over my color choices again and again and again until it looked right. Auntie June with the 22,300 stars. Oh my god. That's huge. Thank you so much. I know you've been trying to figure out those stars. I was wondering if it was working for you. Thank you so much. 2,300. Oh my god. We need to come up with a name for this. Tiny Man Takes on the Universe. That's a good name. How about year 3021? I like that too. Year 3021. That's definitely a plausible name. Auntie June, I know, that's crazy. I know she's been pulling her hair out trying to figure out stars for ages, so I'm glad she got it working there. Cause I know you gotta buy them first and then you send them. So she was worried that she like bought stars and they were like locked away forever and she couldn't send them, you know. Yeah. Well, you know, my whole idea about this is I want it to have some shelf life. Like when you look at it on the wall, I don't want you to be able to know what it's about. Like, I need to like think about it every time you look at it, right? I think I just put paint in my face. So every time she looks at it, I almost want her to wonder, you know? I want her to wonder what's going on. Maybe I did think of a story, but I'm just not telling y'all. You gotta figure it out yourselves. So once I finish this cool blue here, I'm gonna take a little break. Been going for a solid 2 hours. Nice, that went by like nothing. And yeah, come back to the foreground. There's something not right about this. Like one of these needs to. Well, I read a book about a guy who says he could see the future, and he said he saw floating cities. Well, hey, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Maybe it's that guy's vision. We had some technology where we figured out how to lift mountains through magnetism. Tapping into the magnetism of the earth, we've figured out how to lift mountains into the skies because the grounds became too polluted. I don't know. And maybe the clouds are like the gassy pollution, poison clouds, and that's why they're the strange bronzy color. So we've had to, and it's a really heavy gas, so it stays below a certain altitude. So we've had to float these islands above a certain altitude to stay away from the poison gas. There you go. Could keep going. We've already said in the last stream that dragons are how you fly up to the islands. I mean, that's not that crazy considering the bristleberry spiel of the Willowwood, the painting that Stephanie has, with the whole like the souls are inside the berries and the crow. You can't look at the crows because if you make eye contact with the crow, then you end up being put inside of a berry. Crazy stories. Now I'm planning on a risky move with this painting, and it's one of those moves that you only get one chance. Well, if I messed it up, I would have to like remix so many colors to fix it, and I would do that if I messed it up. But I do plan on trying to create a couple sun shafts that come from right here and like beam past this and beam past that. But it's tricky with paint. It's much easier to do digitally, but it's this perfect like consistency of paint on the brush, dry brush, and if you don't get it right, you end up just drawing a big line right across the canvas and it doesn't look great. So I think I'm actually gonna get a little practice canvas off to the side, and I'm gonna make sure it's working right before I go for it. The other thing I'm gonna need is it's kind of I have to make it for myself, but it's basically a lifted 2x4, and it sits over the art table, and it's basically kind of a straight edge for paintbrushes because you can't really use a ruler because the paint bristles fall over it. So basically, it's all about having an edge so that the paintbrush stick can slide on the edge of the 2x4, and I can put that across my painting, and it'll be raised about a half an inch above the painting so it's not touching it, and then you run the paintbrush down the 2x4, and that gives it a nice straight line. And then I just got to array that. I'm thinking a fan brush will be the proper choice, but we'll see. So this got a bit too bright here. What happened? Toss it a little bit black. What happens when you add a lot of water with acrylic paints and you're trying to work transparently is the pigments like literally separate, and you just have to keep mixing it on your palette. Now I'm being conscious as I get over to the right here to make the shadows more on the right in perspective to the sun. I honestly almost forgot. I just had to remind myself. I didn't do it as well over here, but it'll work out when I add a little bit of sun highlight, which is coming next. So yeah. So you need to paint at least one dragon somewhere. Well, I like the idea. I don't know if I'm going to do another dragon, but I'm thinking about giving this adventurer here a friend that's standing up here a little bit more, and he'd probably end up being about this tall. About that tall versus him. Maybe like that. Because in my original sketch, the guy I had, he was much taller and much, he was probably like that big, and it really brought it closer. But I realized by making him tiny, it made it even like that much bigger, you know? Because if he's tiny on the foreground, then it's like, because like if he was huge, like what happened was when he was big, was it made it look like you're like putting a camera, like laying a camera like in the grass. Like that's how close you were to the ground. I want to make it more like I'm standing up, and that's kind of made me decide it. But I think I might want to add another guy. But the closer the guy is, the more accurate I have to be with human anatomy, and it will be more of a challenge. But I'm not gonna let that stop me if I decide to add a guy. I'll probably just look up a couple references. I'll use my own body, which I do often. Like sometimes what I'll do, if I have to draw like a unique pose, I'll go get my tripod and I'll take a picture of myself in the pose exactly, like in perspective, and then I'll use that photograph to like draw a guy with like armor on him. And eventually I hope that like if I do that 1,000, 15,000 times, that I'll just like memorize, you know, all the parts, which I know I will. It's just how it works. It's just humans are harder. They have it's a lot more unique with the parts they have. They're all free form shapes. Makes it very difficult. But I know it's something that's coming. Like, y'all can count on it. Like, eventually I'm gonna be doing like fully rendered realistic humans. Like, I plan on getting to that point. It's just the subject hasn't interested me enough yet, one, and two, yeah, it's basically just that. Like, I just haven't found an interesting enough subject. Like the monk in the boat, you know, like that was probably, I went pretty all out on that human, but I like that subject. I kind of liked how he was mysterious, like how his face was missing. There was something about that I really liked. And I really liked the water. Basically what I did with the random image generator was I sat there for a while and I just clicked through it and just kind of saved a bunch of ones that I really liked. And that ended up being one of them. So I'm adding more dimension to these buildings with the subtle blue color. Get a space going right here that I accidentally painted over before. There we go, and then toss that in there. Screw it. Or a dog, yeah, or animals too. I'm gonna do animals. I think you should put a few details on the Sky Islands crate. Yeah, before you usually have a buddy with them. Explorers usually have a buddy with them, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're not done with the details on these islands yet. We're working on those as we speak. Using the blue to bring out the depth in those buildings right now. Create a little mystery here with this one. How about that? Let's put a couple of cross edges, diagonal line. See what that looks like. Cool. luckily I still have my light color here. I saved a little bit of it because I knew I'd come back. Just enough left and I'll be able to fix this. Oh, water. Rogue water droplet. That. Really show these edges here. Screw the buddy, where's the females in your art? Yeah, I can do a female. I actually, have some interest in drawing more private, controversial things. Possibly, like sexual subjects and naked people and stuff, and it's something I've always wanted to explore. Just to improve in drawing, but I'm not something I'll stream. Be more like a low-key sketchbook, you know. But I always find like things in that realm interesting, like when people really go for drawing things like that. Because first of all, to really learn the human body, you gotta draw it naked. There's really no way around it. If you're always drawing the human body with clothes on it, you can't learn the muscles and the bones. Maybe it's tiny girl meets the universe. Yeah, tiny girl and tiny guy. I have been more formally filling out my sketchbooks, and what I mean by that is I'm making them much neater. Because I plan in the future, like, publishing my sketchbooks. Like, I'm just collecting them. Like, when I have 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 full sketchbooks from, like, every single page is just packed with sketches, I'm gonna, like, copy those and publish them. And see if people want them. Sell the original one maybe someday. It's hard to let go of a sketchbook. I'd probably just end up publishing them. Sketchbooks are really personal, I think, to me, because I do all of my exploring, you know, in my sketchbooks. Adding a light blue tone to some of these rocks here. Because remember, there's no sun in the sky right now. There's no sun in the sky. So like, with these scenes, when the sun's really low, the things that are really going to be lit up are like the grass here and like the front of these big rocks. But what's really happening in the back, especially on this road and on top of these buildings, is the sun rays go omnidirectional in an array in every direction, and they bounce, and when they bounce they do the same thing. It's like each time a ray of light, like each time a ray of light hits something, it kind of creates another tiny sun that goes out in a perfect sphere of rays of light, and then those rays of light bounce off and bounce off and bounce off and bounce off until the light gets so weak that you can't see it anymore. And like, that's how you gotta think when you're shading and doing lighting. So what's actually happening is there's rogue sun rays flying up at the sky in the clouds, bouncing off back down on top of the rooftops of this, and then bouncing off again. So basically, the tops of these buildings are illuminated by like a pink purple light source. They're not illuminated by a yellow light source. So I used to make that mistake all the time, where I would have a yellow sun and I would just highlight everything in yellow. But really, it's a little bit more complex than that, I think. Especially if you're trying to approach realism. I mean, giving everything one light source definitely gives it an effect. Like, if you look at my Fleet 27 painting, it's like a bright star that's like super intense white, blue light, and I just like made everything consumed by that because there was no atmosphere. He was on a comet, and because there's no atmosphere, there's nothing blocking the sun to make it soft, so the light was just like a flashlight. So, but in these like realistic environments, there's a lot of complex things going on with light, and on top of that, the pink is mixing with whatever color this rock is. But because this is far out, you know, I would think like this foreground, you know, if I'm standing here, if this is my vantage point, this guy is probably 100 feet away from me. This island's probably a mile or two away from me. This island is probably 5 miles away, and then this island is probably 15 miles or something. It gets affected by whatever color the clouds are, or the atmosphere. Usually it's blue, or whatever color the sunset is. There's some crazy sunsets out there that can happen because of that atmospheric effect. But so I'm being careful by not making these too bright because ambient light is really weak, and it doesn't flashlight things. It kind of like nothing. Like if like there's a really big difference between like a day where there's a really directional sunlight and an overcast day. The shadows completely change. Everything becomes different colors, and it's interesting stuff. Like anyone that's trying to learn color, I would suggest studying an overcast day versus like a sunset or a sunrise, like really, really well lit versus like overcast. And you'll notice everything on an overcast day has the same exact shadow. It's really interesting. And everything gets taken over by ambient light instead of sunlight. So it's tricky. I find overcast things the most difficult thing to nail. But it's cool. Some of the coolest paintings are overcast paintings. Like that rainy city street with the water on the pavement and it's all wet and you see all the reflections of the brake lights and everything. I always love those kind of paintings. Catching up on the comments here. I have a couple of nudes and I love them. I think the human form is beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I think it's beautiful. My sketchbooks are beyond personal. They need to be burned. That just means they're really good, Renee. Light gets too complicated. Yeah. Yeah, sketchbooks are super personal. You know, I have like sketches I hate in there that like I wanted to tear out and throw it in the trash can, you know, but I keep them anyway because they're a testament to my progress, and I think I need to see that every now and again. But yeah, nudes and sexual drawings and stuff like that. It's a whole area. Yeah, light has had my mind occupied for the last like I don't know how long, my whole life. It's been more occupied in color lately, but even in black and white, that's how I was thinking of it at first. But yeah, there's a lot to think about. Because like here's the last thing I'll nerd out about it. It's like take a sphere, right? Take like imagine a blue, or let's say, imagine like a red sphere, right? Like a red bouncy ball, like one of those gym yoga balls, sitting in a grass field. On a bright day, the sky is completely blue, and not a cloud in the sky, and you have green grass, and there's a red ball sitting in the green grass, and you got like a white house behind it, or something, like a really big white house in the yard, and then green grass and red ball. What's happening is like on the bottom edge of that ball, because of all these light colors mixing, it's like you have the blue skylight coming down and it's bouncing off the green grass and coming back up. So you actually have to take like a little bit, like to get it realistic, you have to get like the slightest bit of green And right where the ball is like really close to the green grass, it'll actually be picking up some green light. So it's like, but it'll be, the color of the light will have to be green mixed with blue, but blue dominant. And like that would be like the correct ambient light color. And it gets really complex like that, and it can take a lot of time to like look at your subject and be like, okay, that light is bouncing off that, and that's mixing with that, and that's bouncing off that. And you can see like with your own eyes like where like the light dies out. Like there's a point where like it's not reflecting anymore and you can't see it. So like you don't have to go crazy with that concept. Like that's something you can get lost in, but when you find it and you do it right, it's like, oh my god, it makes so much sense. Great, more stuff I'm gonna want to buy from you. Yeah, we'll see how those come out. I have been inspired too to, I want to go like find a couple classes. I just want to go like not like a generic class. Like I want to go find a couple masters and kind of get under their wing and like learn from them for a couple weeks or something, you know? Like I want to have one of those experiences where I go like camp out in New Hampshire with like some master painter and learn in some tiny niche class for about the ways of the Jedi. But like I've just been such a sponge. Like at least I'm ready to get a new book. I'm ready for a new drawing book. I think I'm gonna go to the bookstore soon, find myself a book to go through. So I'm going to take a lot of blue and mix it in over here. By the way, I've had to pee so bad for like the last hour, but it's just been such a good chat. I'm going to have to take a break here in a minute. I'm taking a little bit of blue. Just this ever so slight tinge of a blue. And I'm doing exactly what I was just talking about. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of purple and mix it in with it. Because we have way more of a purple sky than a blue sky. And all I'm doing is I'm adding the ambient light of the sky to the back of these rocks here. Because right now they're kind of just gray toned, right? So I'm taking this little bit of blue and I'm just put it in a spot right here. And I'm being careful not to touch the core shadow. And this is where this color goes where the sun, where your light source is not reaching it, but the skylight still is. So you have two kinds of shadow here. You have like, or maybe three. You have ambient occlusion, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. You have ambient occlusion, and then you have ambient light, and then you have the core shadow. So ambient light is going to be the lightest part of your shadow, but your ambient light never gets brighter ever than your light source. That's a rule. Never get your ambient light brighter than your light source, or otherwise it won't make sense. It'll look like it's coming, there'll be another sun coming from out of nowhere. So ambient light is your lightest part of your shadow, and it normally takes on the color of the sky. The core shadow is the darkest part of your ambient light, but it exists because of the nature of the way light rays bounce off things and the randomness of it. And there's just these areas that naturally the light rays don't reach. And if you think about it, you can actually see why the light rays would reach that spot less. And you can see it on objects better than others. Like you can see it on a sphere better than a cube, for example. The core shadow becomes really apparent on like round objects because of this really natural fade of the way the surface of a rounded object is. But And then the third part you have is the ambient occlusion. And that is where no light reaches at all. And it's the darkest points in your painting, and it's often where in pen and ink people will go absolute black, and that's where your ambient occlusion is. And more specifically, it's a part of an object where it meets a surface and the edge of it becomes faded ever so slightly to where you can't see the edge of it, and it becomes faded to a black color. And your ambient occlusion color will almost always have be the most desaturated black gray shade, and it's very subtle. It's like well done ambient occlusion. You can tell it's when a master does it, because it's just in these little nooks and crannies and corners that the light doesn't reach. And when it's done right, it comes out so good. It looks so real when it's done right. And so anywhere where the sun's not hitting here, I'm adding in sky color. But I'm also keeping in mind, where are the deepest trenches of these rocks? The little cracks. That's where I'm not going to paint the blue over, because we want that ambient occlusion to show. So ambient occlusion, core shadow, and your ambient light. If you're thinking about those three different colors in your shadows, they just come out so much more realistic. And it feels wrong to like put a color as a shadow until it just, you see how right it looks, and then it's just like, oh, that's what I was doing. So like, here's a good example of this rock. I'll show you an example of this rock here. Let's see if I can get this close up to the camera. So this little rock here I just did, if you look, there's a yellow edge to it, right? And then it goes into a little bit of a blue, and then right below that blue there's a sliver of black, or a much darker blue actually, that's saturated with a lot of black. And that would be the ambient occlusion point of the rock. That little sliver of black would be the darkest part where no light's reaching. The next step up after that would be the ambient light, and then the highlight or the light source on the next edge. And the reason why that rock doesn't have as much of a core shadow, which would just be a darker version of the ambient light, is because it's a flat edge, and on flat edge objects the core shadow isn't as apparent. The flat edges tend to take on one big shade just because of the nature of them. There's less chaos with flat planes for light than there is with round planes. So what I mean by that is, like, there's less ways creative ways the light is gonna bounce off of a flat surface than off of a round surface, right? Because think about it. You'd have to hit a sphere perfectly bullseye for a light beam to bounce just perfectly straight back. The second you go 1 millidegree off of that perfect bullseye point on a sphere, the light rays are going to start bouncing all different angles like crazy. So round objects are a little more complicated. I'm finding drawing cars, such good practice these days, because they have such smooth, rounded, difficult shapes, and there's just something about how cars feel to draw. They just really improve your ellipses and all those really hard to draw things. And I'm just tossing in some ambient light where I felt like it was missing. Generally, once you reach around four colors for an object, it starts looking realistic if you blend them right. 2 colors looks like you're laying it out. 3 colors is like you're halfway there. And then any colors above that, as long as it's not overkill, adds more and more realism, basically. Because colors are really deceiving, and nature is constantly making like pretty much every color right before your eyes. You know, it's like you look at someone's skin. It's not peach colored or skin colored. It's like green and blue and purple, and we have veins, and the veins create purplish and red and blue and greenish colors, and like it's actually using like all the colors when you draw someone's skin. Even a person of colored skin. It's not straightforward. It's like reds and clay colors and orange. It's a lot of orange in colored people's skin. Like it almost is actually orange. Like that tan orange you see when someone tans too much, but for some reason it translates more correctly on a painting to go more orange. It's just fascinating stuff. Could talk about color all day. Anyway, I have to pee like freaking crazy. We got the blue ambient light done on the islands. I'm gonna take a break, but going for about 2.5 hours straight. I'm gonna stretch my legs, refill my coffee. I'm gonna toss up a silly little intermission video for y'all, and I'm gonna be back. Probably gonna paint for another hour or so. I'm not sure. I'm gonna paint till I'm done. I actually have to go work in a little while, so I might just have to paint until I have to go work. But other than that, yeah, stick around if you want to hang out. I'll be right back. Thanks for hanging out. Hey, I'm back. Sorry. I know that was a substantial break, but I needed it. Hey, Don, what's going on, man? It's good to see you here. Which over-the-shoulder throw are you most satisfied and proud of? Hmm. Well, I'd say the most satisfying one, hands down. But I'm not proud of it because I didn't think it would happen. It was like a total lucky, like complete, can't believe it. Hey, what's going on, Oz? Good to see you here, man. Was the toaster shot, the bread in the toaster. It was just like, because I was doing it as a joke. I was on Snapchat and I was like, ugh, and it went in and I was like, get the fuck out of here. No way. And that one single toaster shot started the whole like snipe thing. Like if it wasn't for that random toaster shot happening, I wouldn't have made all the other ones. So you have to attribute all the other trick shots to that one. But that's definitely the most satisfying. The one that took the most tries. It's hard to say because there was half of them there were in the days where I wasn't counting the tries, and then the YouTube video thing happened. I started counting the tries. So I think I want to say it's either between the paper towel one, where I throw the paper towel and it like flips and lands like in the tube on like the rack. That one took me. Like, that one took so many tries. I remember the next day my whole shoulder was pulling out because of how many times I did the same motion, you know? It's like, imagine just sitting there doing this, like, 500 times. It's like, count to 500. It's just like, and, like, bending down and, like, picking up the paper towel roll. Anyway. Yeah, that shit was crazy. And then the toothbrush one, there was one I did, like, threw a toothbrush behind my back and, like, landed in the cup. That one took a lot of freaking tries. And I think because it was the way it was like bouncing out of the metal cup, it was like impossible. Like it wouldn't like I got it in probably like 35 times and it would like just like bounce out immediately, and like so when it stayed it was like but like being completely honest, it's why I stopped. Or I don't do them as much anymore. I had a hair in my mouth. It's because it's just insane. Like, it was too much to like keep up with that. Like when it became like a YouTube thing, it became too much to keep up with that. Oh yeah, by the way, when I was in the kitchen, I decided I was gonna have a day beer with you, Stephanie. I don't know if you've switched to day beer yet, but I was in a Saturday single day beer kind of mood. So I still have some of this shadow blue here, and before I reset the palette, I'm gonna use a little bit more of it. So I'm putting this blue all the way up into this corner right here. Yeah, cheers. I just made the switch for myself. Nice. Yeah, I was like, I went to go heat up more coffee and there was none left. So I was like, screw it. So I'm also gonna add this blue to some of the grass, believe it or not. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally, like, grab the tiniest bit of yellow, because this blue's really watered down, and that little bit of yellow is just gonna like pull that blue towards green a little bit and create that excuse me, ambient light relationship where we have a bit of this skylight. And you know what, I don't even think I added enough yellow. Yeah, a little bit more. Where the blue purple skylight is mixing with the green and creating shadow tones, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know, I don't have all the proper terms. But I'm staying away from the areas of ambient occlusion on the grass and allowing them to stay black. Basically, the color I have here is basically a grayed out green at this point. And you know, at a certain point you get asked like, well, what happens when you mix like, you know, green with blue? Because it's not two primary colors. Well, it ends up just bringing it towards gray because everything gets mucky. But when you look at the color wheel and what's happening and the way you're traveling towards the color, which I can explain on my digital tablet again someday, but the way you travel through desaturation towards another color, so you want to think of it. So it's like the blue light's hitting the green, you look at the color wheel, so it's like, alright, what's the easiest way to green without being too aggressive? The easiest way to blue from green. Is just graying it out, basically. Because colors communicate when they're grayed out. And the more neutral grays that you play around with in a painting, the more the brain kind of like creates this realism effect and like this illusion effect, because gray takes on and holds hands with whatever color it's next to a lot of the time. And because of that, depending on what you're focused on in the painting, the grays can change kind of in a weird illusionary way. So I've been practicing controlling that, you know. I still have a lot to learn. I know more of it than I can weave it. I probably told some of you this in chat before already, but there's this cool app, this phone app I have that I found, and it uses like augmented reality with the camera, and basically any color you're looking at, you can just put the camera on and it'll tell you, you know, more or less. I'm sure it's not perfectly accurate because of the translation through the imaging chip of the phone and all that and whatnot, and the color correction. However, it's pretty damn close when you're just trying to get things right or pick something close. And I was doing this color study of this trail one day, and I remember not being able to figure out the color of this dirt because I was like trying to find this like brown, and I was like, what the hell is that color? And I just like gave up and took out I try to take out the app at the last resort. I try to like figure it out myself, and then if I can't, I'll take out the calculator, right? So I took out the calculator, and it was just like gray, but it looked brown because the trees were brown, and the brown was like, my brain was like taking brown from like 2 feet on the left and like putting it into this gray on the ground, and it was just like I had to like realize why it was happening before I could like paint it right. And there's like so much there's so many situations like that in painting that I've run into myself. I mean, maybe I'm thinking of it wrong, but that's how I've learned to solve the problem. I don't know if any of that made sense. The same thing with transparency kind of happens with the color mixing. So I'm doing the same thing. I did on the rocks. Over here. And I'm backing up all weird because there's this glare from my studio lights that happens, and I can't actually see the right color. So I gotta like lean over here. I'm back, got called away for a bit. All good. This is all about just relaxing and hanging out. Another thing I noticed too that took me a while to like figure out is that sometimes like a color that I put on the canvas doesn't look right until it's like all painted in. Like, and what I mean by that is like this like this dark blue color I put into the shadows of the floating islands, for example. When I first put that on, it kind of felt a little wrong until it was all filled in, and then it looks like in context. And like sometimes that's where like a little bit of faith comes in. You just gotta like go for it, you know? You can't really have everything planned ahead. There's a little bit of like trial and error with that. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this yellow and mix it in with this purple over here and kind of make this weird greenish gray. And my goal is to see what this looks like is a little bit of actually, you know what? I already know it's the wrong color, but I'm gonna have to make it from scratch. Let me just see. It's not what I was picturing. Let it. Maybe. It's like gray is so crazy. It's not an all-around thing. It's probably just here and there. Here and there kind of color. Okay. I'm gonna take my razor blade here. clear off a section on my palette. This is why I love my glass palette. I'm gonna save that purple. Just take a rag and wipe it off. I'm not scraping the whole palette because I still have a lot of my neutrals. Just give myself more room. I'll tell you, my painting, like my palette organization, has changed day by day. Gonna work in my art while I listen. Nice. What's my next one? Like my next painting? It's another commission. It's a photograph I have to paint. I think it's the one I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bang that one out, get it done. Photographs go a little bit faster because you have all the information that you need right in front of you. There's not really much figuring out to do besides just finding the right color. So, photograph commissions, try to get done a little quicker. Add some more color back on my palette here. Mom has already claimed it. Nice. I'm curious. I'm gonna use medium yellow instead of my Hansa. Oh, it's so different when you really see it out of the tube. That really is just a nice primary yellow right there. Okay. And white. So I need to. I'm gonna start and stop my time lapse here quick. It's getting, that was a 2 hour and 45 minute video. It's gonna be a big old file. Start another one. It's the benefit of having multiple hard drives in your computer right there. Just kind of thinking where I want to go next. think just a touch of sunlight on these maybe. But I have to find the right color. I feel like I'm gonna make a neutral pink. Roughly like the highlight color that's already on it, and then mix it with yellow. So grab magenta and all of the gray. I'll even grab this wet paint that I saved, mix that in with it. I find it more beneficial than not to let colors mix on my palette. Especially when it's like the same object with the same context of things going on. Alright. It's not neutral enough. So I'm going to grab some white, and I'm going to grab an equal amount of black and mix that in. And that should hold the same brightness, but just, it's just like adding gray, basically. That's why I like getting that neutral mixing gray, because it just gives me that perfect half and half ratio of black and white. It's just faster sometimes. I feel like there's less color in it too, so don't get as much of that like blue hue effect that happens from black. I think the blue comes out more than the yellow and the red just because it's the most powerful color when it comes to like how strong the pigment takes over other colors. Okay. Oops. My finger just slipped off the knife and I put it right in the white paint. My next series might be cats. That'd be cool. I'd like to see how those come out. You gotta start with Emma. A portrait of Emma. Okay, cool. I'm gonna take some white. I'm gonna take half of that and I'm gonna mix the white into it. See what it gives me. I think in the meantime I'm going to take a little bit of blue and a little bit of magenta, add that in too, so I don't lose too much of that color. There's a line when you're mixing the black and white in where you start losing the color that you need. It's easy, you just got to throw in more color basically. Not a lot. Everything I seem to be more successful when I work in increments. Whether it's layering or mixing on the palette, little tiny increments help me the most when it comes to finding a color accurately. See, I had a cleaning brush over here. Where'd it go? There it is. Oh, it's in the water. Cats and bunnies, do it. Those animals would come out cool in that stippling style that you do with the pen and ink. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do, because I wanted to see I'm taking this yellow. And I'm going to try to make the Hansa, which it looks pretty close. Let's see. It's just more dull. I'd have to add blue. It's the slightest amount of blue. Anyway, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take a little bit of this magenta over here that I made, and see what it gives me. If you don't enjoy mixing paint, then don't get into painting, because I'll tell you, it's half of it. Half the time you spend is mixing. Okay, I kind of like the neutral. It kind of gave me like a, almost a brown, which is cool. And I'm gonna get that brown I just made. I'm gonna half it again with more of that yellow, and see what that gives me. Looks like I need to add more. It's not always straightforward like this, but because it's an atmospheric thing going on, it's pretty much, I think it's just gotta be pink that I gotta mix with yellow. Okay. We can experiment with that. And it ended up being a bronze color. So I know that I'm in the right direction because I had to make a bronze color for the clouds. For the clouds to work. I just dropped a bunch of stuff over here. Just covering the paint. I got everything. Oops. I just hit the camera, didn't I? I got everything perfectly placed on my table so that it fits because I don't have a lot of room. I already drew Emma and I have a kitten photo I'd like to try. Nice. And then I'm doing the sugar gliders. There you go. Those are cool. Yeah, those would be cool to draw. For sure. And I think if I want to go any more yellow, I'll canvas blend over the wet bronze color here. Let me see what this color does first. It's like tan color that happened. Okay, nice. I think it's the right color. I'm gonna roll it. See how it looks. It's kind of like I was saying before. See, isn't that crazy? It literally looks brown on the palette, but it looks yellow on this pink. That's the stuff that always trips me out. No, I'm not gonna get detailed here. I gotta stay blobby. My brush needs to be drier, actually. There we go. I like that. Man, if that's looking that yellow already, the other yellow is gonna be crazy. I wish I had more color variety with pen and ink. I have to use. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting trying to mix with ink. Never tried that before. Nice commission work. So I just want to see what the bright yellow looks like quick. To try to separate this edge here. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Yay, color mixing starting to make more sense. I'm gonna keep rolling with the base color first. Cat painting. I'm down. I'd have to get crazy with it though. I couldn't just do like a cat sitting on like a pillow, like all up in the frame. I'd have to do like a crazy cat painting. Like a bunch of cats like flying around like fighting each other with fireballs and like, you know, shooting spells at each other and shit. Glowing eyes. I'm not about painting those bowls of fruit, if you know what I mean. Nah, I ain't hating on the bowls of fruit. You gotta paint a couple bowls of fruit in your day to learn, but that's how it goes. Just didn't have his fun. This is cool. This will give it a little more depth here. Kind of show that that's poking out in front of it. Almost thought I didn't put my time lapse on again there for a second. Feather that out. Doesn't too much paint. Wipe that off. There we go. Oh, this is one of those aha moments where I found like the perfect color. No bowls of fruit for you. The only time I'll be drawing bowls of fruit is when I do those fisheye perspective drawings I've been doing. If there happen to be a bowl of fruit in the room. Screw it, let's make another edge here and have it all 3D looking. Oops, I gotta be careful not to put paint over my sky right there. There we go. Okay, that works. The sun should be hitting it up there. That's crazy you tackled the fishbowl perspective. Well, I've been working my way through all the types from 1 point to 5 point. And that's what fisheye is. It's 5 point perspective. That's what they call it technically. I haven't experimented with it yet, and the second I figured it out, I was like, oh, this is so fun. Because what's cool about it, what I like about it the most, is you can fit so much in a single drawing, which is cool about it. Because it's like, what you're doing is you're drawing looking left, right, up, and down, and in front of you at the same time, rather than just having a fixed frame in front of you. And it's challenging because you have to like kind of design things with it, but it's fun. It's really, 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 really fun. There's a really easy grid you can lay out when you start practicing it at first, and once you get the grid in your mind, you can kind of see how it's supposed to lay out. Yeah, I have a lot of weird tunes on here, man, because we made them all ourselves because the copyright stuff. What is this on right now? Yeah. Yeah, that's a funky one. What I want to do is I want to bring the fisheye perspective into my paintings, like this. I think it'll make them really fun to look at. But I'm experimenting with finding the sweet spot of the curve, because if you go too much, it gets too bubbly and too like crazy and distorted. But like, I'm trying to find that sweet spot where you almost can't tell. The thing is the more straight edges that are in a 5 point perspective drawing, the more curvy, like distortedness you'll notice. The more bubbly objects that are in a 3 point perspective, the less it's apparent. So there's like subjects you can pick with it that change how it looks, which is cool. But it's a fine line. So I'm just adding these subtle sunlight highlights. Just bring out the depth a tad more. Basically, I'm putting on the paint a little thick, then I'm wiping my brush off so it's dry, and then feathering. And I'm letting the sunlight kind of cascade over the details I made a little bit, because it just kind of makes this nice faded glowing effect kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely gonna try it. I want to go. I'm gonna go in the woods soon and do a couple studies with fishbowl in the woods, because the couple fishbowl ones I've done have been like a lot of man-made things, like the porch and the kitchen and my TV and stuff. So it'll be fun to see how that turns out with trees and trying to figure out how to stretch less edgy objects, literally edgy. See, I already attempted trying to find this color at one point over here. Crazy how that immediately looks so much more yellow. I really like this new brush. This brush is awesome. It's almost a green color that I'm putting on here, actually. So basically just rinse and repeat. Just going around and this is definitely gonna have a lot of sunlight beaming down here. Barely any paint on my brush right now. Let's get some. And this guy. Oh. And here. Oops. That'll be fine. Right here. Cool, there's another one I missed. Right over here. This one definitely has like the crack of light shining through thing happening. Let's see, down here. Right here. We'll come in with the lighter yellow. Get some crazy edges going. see. To ask myself. Yeah, the sun is hitting like the things up here though. But only certain ones. Trying to keep it low light up here. And mysterious. Cool. Let's see what this other yellow does. Much more yellow. Yeah, it's subtle. It's a subtle change. Just brings a little bit more depth, I think, to the islands. The light part of the painting is always my favorite. It's so fun. Gonna continue with these highlights here. Don't want to overdo it. I'm realizing that this color can be overdone. So I'm going to apply it sparingly. Trying to keep all the edges feathered. Yeah. The rogue water droplet strikes again. Luckily I'm working a wash color here. Wow, it's already been another hour. That's crazy. That went by fast. I heard a great quote today from another artist that I follow. She's amazing. She does like super photorealistic acrylic paintings of animals. And I can't remember the quote exactly at all. But the gist of it is like to not wait until you're inspired to do art. To like this guy's was saying basically like he disagrees with the premise of when someone says like, oh, I'm not feeling inspired, I don't have any good ideas and I don't want to paint, because how did he put it, he was like, that means like you're waiting like for like the clouds to part on the perfect day and a lightning bolt to come like strike down right in front of you, you know, and like in fact you find the inspiration through the process and through that work of like painting when you're not inspired as well. And I find that to be very true, because I'd say 50% of the time, can't really put a number to it, but 50% of the time I'm not necessarily like ragingly inspired about what I'm painting or drawing. I'm just pushing through it to learn and get better, and then somewhere within that stretch of time the inspiration will happen suddenly. I just thought it was such a good quote. I gotta find the quote, because the way he said it was so much better. But basically to just always keep doing art even when you're not inspired, and to not wait, to not make that the reason why you sit down and create. Hey Jokum, have you tried the Impossible Burgers? Yeah, I tried one from Burger King fairly recently, like several months ago, and I'll be honest, it was a Whopper. Like, if you didn't tell me it was an impossible one, I wouldn't have known. Maybe some burger enthusiasts really would, and so they're like wine samplers. They can smell the difference in the burger, but I feel like to the average person they wouldn't know. Tasted fucking pretty good, to be honest. For me, I'll get some weird image in my head and then allow it to marinate. Yeah, no doubt. For sure. For me, I don't always get that image in my head, and when that happens, I'll go and I'll draw things that I see. And ultimately, that always results in me thinking of something in my head, because I'll study something and it interacts with my library. Like I had to draw like for my recent sketch, I had to draw like 6 cars or something like that, and I just like, I don't think I've ever sat down to draw just like 6 cars. and I already feel better at drawing cars, and I already feel more confident at like inventing a car out of my head now. Like I would have more ideas on to like how to approach the shapes on it and stuff, if that makes sense. Not quite, I wouldn't go that far. I'd take that out there. Okay. They've come a long way before, sure. And yes, that's true. We want to be original. Got that right. Well, hey guys, on the note of finishing those highlights and shadows on the islands and stuff, I think I'm gonna end it there. I gotta go actually go to work and paint, like construction painting for a while. So, but wow, it's been 3 hours and 48 minutes. So there you go. It's been a longer one today. But you have to be more creative than ever today. It seems like it's already been done. Yeah, I understand that feeling, and I have another theory on that. Yes, it's true, and also the internet brings everyone that's really good and puts it all in one place in front of us. And the reality is like it just makes it seem like it's all been done because of that, I think. Like an element to it. But there's lots of clever ways to be original still. But anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for the crazy amount of stars. You guys are ridiculous. Thank you so much. And I've had so much fun today on this stream. I'm so glad I did it. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. If I don't finish this before I stream, maybe I'll make sure I put it on a stream, the final touch. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go make my final decisions on the foreground. This is pretty much done. I'm going to probably add a couple more subtle colors up here, but I want it to overall be pink so it stays atmospheric and out in distance. And then we're going to do the sun shafts. But I have to go actually make my little 2x4 jig so that I can draw that straight line. I don't even have that yet, so I got to make that. I've been meaning to. So I actually need to do that before I can finish it. But anyway, thank you all so much. You have a great rest of your Saturday. Love you, Mom. Love you, Stephanie. Love all of you. Good to see you, Don. Anyone that's still here, take care.